What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got some more NBA news to talk about, this time actually revolving around the Washington Wizards and Rudy Gobert, with it currently actually being reported that the Wizards have interest in trading for Rudy Gobert. This is being reported by Greg Swartz. So again, this is extremely interesting in my opinion, and I think I'm not exactly liking the move exactly too much. Those of you who haven't seen as well, there's been actually a lot of rumors that the Brooklyn Nets are going to be trying to trade for Bradley Beal, and although I do like Bradley Beal on the Wizards, I think that this is just too good of an offer to refuse. For example, if you guys haven't seen my Brooklyn video where I was talking about this, I definitely recommend going and checking it out, because I think it is actually a really good move for both teams. And I'll just summarize it. I think that one player that the Brooklyn Nets, have that I think would be extremely good for the Washington Wizards would actually be Caris LeVert, and there could be, a couple other moves. They could get a bunch of picks from that trade and all of that type of stuff. Although, if they were to try and trade for Rudy Gobert, this would mean that they probably wouldn't be trading away Bradley Beal. And the reason why I think trading away Bradley Beal would actually not be the worst decision is also, yes, they can get Caris LeVert, a couple of picks, and maybe a couple other players here and there. But also just based on the fact that I really think the Washington Wizards should try and get Anthony Edwards, because Anthony Edwards is just a younger version of Bradley Beal, really. He's very similar to Bradley Beal, and I definitely think they should try and partner him up with Caris LeVert, and a couple other players here and there on the Washington Wizards, like John Wall. So I think that would be the idea that I would prefer, but let's just say the Wizards are all in on keeping Bradley Beal. Maybe that's actually a good thing, that the Wizards may want to partner and kind of create this big three and see if they can try and do some damage and make some noise in the East. And of course, they won't just have, Rudy Gobert, Bradley Beal, and an injured John Wall. They'll also have other assets, but we're going to keep in mind as well that they most likely will be trading away assets to get Rudy Gobert. Now, what those assets would be, I'm not exactly too sure. I really feel like Rudy Gobert's value isn't exactly too much. I feel like it could be a player like, a sign and trade with Davis Bertans, because of, Bertans is a power forward, and we know that the Utah Jazz desperately need a power forward, and that's just how it's been for a little bit now. I honestly think a bad trade wouldn't be. I reckon a good trade maybe would be like Thomas Bryant, Davis Bertans, and maybe a second for Rudy Gobert. You would think that if you were the Utah Jazz, you would almost actually really consider that, because Davis Bertans is averaging 15 points a game, and they desperately need a power forward. And if they were to trade, Rudy Gobert, then they desperately need a center as well. Now, if they didn't want Thomas Bryant, maybe they would want Moritz Wagner. Again, I'm not exactly too sure who the Utah Jazz would be looking at, but I honestly don't think that's a bad trade at all, because Davis Bertans does have quite a bit of value now. I mean, a lot of teams are going to be, looking at his name, and not just that, he's averaging 15 points a game. Not exactly the worst defense as well. He's extremely quick for his height. Not necessarily in the way of, I would say, quickness all around the court, but getting open in that 3-point, he's really good at, and not too many power forwards at his height can really say that they can get open like that. And not just that, he's 42.4% from 3. He doesn't miss. Davis Bertans literally doesn't miss from the court. So I think it would be a really interesting option for the Utah Jazz to potentially get. And then obviously then Bojan can potentially play small forward, and then they could get, either Thomas Bryant or maybe even Moritz Wagner and play them as their new starting center. And obviously both these players are extremely young, putting up good production right now, and are decent defenders as well. And then they can get that second round pick, or maybe they'll want a first round pick. I'm not exactly too sure, but they can get a pick potentially out of it. And then let's just say, maybe, this trade does happen. Then the Wizards got a really nice team too. They'll have, their starting lineup of John Wall at point guard, Bradley Beal at shooting guard. Hopefully they'll draft a small forward. I don't know who that's going to be at this point. Maybe Denny of Deja. He would be an interesting one. He could have that 3-point scoring that they're going to lose from losing Davis Bertans if they were to trade him for Rudy Gobert. And then they'd have Rui Hachimura at power forward, who is, in my opinion, a very, very nice scorer. Just needs to work on his 3-point shot and his defense. But other than that, he's pretty good. And then you got Rudy Gobert at center, and then a nice supporting cast off the bench with, Shabazz Napier, Ish Smith, one of those centers like Maurice Wagner. Who else? You got Troy Brown Jr., and then whoever they decide to sign in free agency as well. And then Jerome Robinson, who is a young prospect as well, who could be, potentially doing good for maybe the Wizards if they were able to get him on the right track. So, again, I think this would be a really interesting move for both teams. But, of course, I feel like, I don't know, I don't think the Washington Wizards would necessarily have to overpay, but is that big three really going to go that far? Like, if you were the Washington Wizards, how far do you think that big three is going to go? Obviously, you're putting a really nice supporting cast around him, but, again, John Wall's going to be pretty, I'd say, rusty in his first season. But Rudy Gobert does add what I'd say the Washington Wizards definitely need, and that's, inside defense and, of course, a big rebounding center. So I think he does add that aspect. And then Rui Hachimura can work on the rest of his game. And then, yeah, you've just built a really interesting four. Like, I think Rui Hachimura could be a very nice player in this league. So then, you got John Wall, Bradley Beal, Rui Hachimura, and, Rudy Gobert. It's a really nice, four. I'm not going to say big four, obviously, but it's a really nice four. And then whoever they have at small forward, if they look to sign someone at small forward, like maybe a Derrick Jones Jr. type of player, or maybe look to go, draft Denny Avdija, or maybe even try and play Obi Toppin at small forward, or Hachimura at small forward. Again, I doubt they do that, but again, it's just an option, and just another thing that the Washington Wizards could potentially look to try and do. But anyway, I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for all the latest NBA content and NBA news. Don't forget to comment in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts and opinions on this? Do you guys think this would be a good idea by the Utah Jazz and Washington Wizards, or do you guys think it would be a bad idea? Again, I definitely would really like to know your thoughts and opinions on this all down below. But also don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channel and my IRL/vlog channel. Links for them will be in the description down below. And don't forget to go check out my podcast as well if you haven't already. Links for that will also be in the description down below. So as I was saying, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.